Caitlin, thank you. Well, joining us now is Tony Perkins, president of Family Research Council. Tony, thanks for coming on Faith Nation tonight. In the hearing today in the House, it displayed yet again just how far apart the two sides of this issue are. You heard it in Caitlin's piece. Is abortion considered health care when it comes to dealing with an ectopic pregnancy or a miscarriage?
No, it is not. One of the rules in terms of dealing with a pregnant woman, she is the first patient. And so in saving, when you often hear about saving the life of a mother, that's always the first priority of a doctor, is to save the life of the mother. And if in the treatment of that mother, the baby expires, that's not an abortion. You're not intentionally trying to terminate the life of that child. So there's a lot of myths out there. But I think one of the things we see very clearly, you just saw in that package, is the contrast between the two sides has never been clearer. You've got one celebrating really the right of a woman to end the life of a child, and you have another group that are celebrating the ability to help a woman bring a life to term and walk with her through that process. I mean, you could not have a clear contrast between the two ideologies.
And Tony, Democrats want to codify abortion rights into federal law. Do you see any chance of that happening in the wake of the Supreme Court decision in Roe v. Wade?
Well, they're going to try it again. I mean, we're going to have those votes in the House again this week. They voted on it multiple times before. I mean, you have a couple of Democratic senators. You have Joe Manchin, who has said, no, I'm not going. That's too far. If the pressure were too immense on him and he were to capitulate to the abortion crowd, it could happen in the Senate. So I certainly pray that it does not. And every American who loves life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness needs to be praying that the Senate does not capitulate to that and does not pass a measure codifying Roe v. Wade. Now, that's also very interesting that it dispels this idea that for the last 49 years, this has been the law of the land. It was the court imposing that. What we have now is the ability for people to decide this through their elected representatives, the way it should have been and the way it was 50 years ago.
And this might be a long shot, but is there any legislative space for compromise that would involve Republicans joining with Democrats to provide more maternal health care, daycare, and other necessary options for pregnant women?
That's a really, really good question. I think there is. I mean, you take Washington, D.C., right where we're at now, is that you have this high rate of mortality for pregnant women. And it's not because they don't have access to abortion, which some claim you have to have abortion in order to save the lives of mothers and make their health care better. It's the access to prenatal care. It's the access to basic services. And so, yes, I do think there is a way to find middle ground, and we're going to have to. We're going to have to work because this is a problem, a challenge, I should say, now facing the nation. And we need to work together to provide better outcomes for mothers and their children.
And Tony, real quickly, in terms of the elections, is this abortion issue really a galvanizing feature for Democrats? They're hoping so, but is it really enough to give them an edge?
I don't think so. I think it's for a small minority, yes, it is a driving issue. But I don't think most Americans are driven to the polls because they want to see unborn children taken out. I think right now, when you look at the polls, it's inflation. It's all the things that this administration is not doing. It's rising gas prices. The president says, this is my top focus. My top priority is dealing with inflation. But yet his policies are trying to advance chemical abortions and transgenderism. I think the Democratic Party has a lot bigger problems than the fact that there are those who want to save unborn children.
Midterms will be here before we know it. Tony, thanks so much.
Good to be with you.